Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It is Monday, October 28th, and this is an update for the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, the All Hazards Consortium, where we share information across platforms and from state Emergency Operations Center, private sector liaisons, into the private sector, into owner, operators, organizations, to help them prepare and get ready for any big threats that are happening, such as hurricanes, hurricane development, landfall, severe weather, things like that. Well, we've been talking for about 5 or so days about the potential for some tropical development in the Southwest Caribbean. And that's what we do have now. We have at least an official acknowledgement from the National Hurricane Center that, yes, they're now watching an area in the Southwestern Caribbean for potential development over the next 5 to 7 days. So keep in mind that's into November, early November. The hurricane season doesn't end until the end of November, November 30th. Still doesn't mean, though, that all tropical activity is not allowed to develop. If the conditions are right, tropical activity can develop beyond November 30th. So this is the satellite image loop I have loaded up. This is the GOES East satellite, and I have the sea surface temperatures that are also being recorded from other satellites, NOAA polar orbiting satellites, and also geostationary satellites. They get the infrared temperatures, and that can be read off of the sea surface and combined with some models too. So if clouds are very persistent over an area, those temperatures won't record. So we use modeling to fill in those gaps. And this is what we have. We have this area in the Southwest Caribbean that is getting some showers and thunderstorms developing over it. There's just a large general low pressure circulation over this area, and it will ultimately lead to something developing in the Caribbean in this area here that I'm circling. Right now, it's just some showers and thunderstorms, no organization to anything. And we're really looking beyond the next today, tomorrow into Wednesday, looking more into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for potential development. But one thing you can see with the sea surface temperatures are that it's plenty warm. And I can show you the sea surface temperature anomalies as well in just a moment. But let me show you where the Hurricane Center is focusing their attention. I'll take the satellite loop full screen so you can see all the way out here past the islands, past Barbados. Here's Barbados here, and you can see it's pretty clear of any tropical development, and the temperatures are warm all around the islands here, up to around Cuba and down to the Southwestern Caribbean. And so that's something that we don't have to be concerned about. It has enough energy to work with. Anything that develops in the Southwestern Caribbean has enough temperature, warmth, and ocean heat content to work with should something develop. But let me show you GeoCollaborate. This is what we have. We have a number of things going on, even in the Pacific Ocean. Look at this, 2 areas that we're monitoring for potential tropical development. Fortunately, they won't be impacting land as they may develop. One of them has a higher percentage to develop than the other one over the next 7 days. But this is the area that I want to focus on here in the Caribbean. And so you can see it's not extreme Southwest Caribbean, but it's somewhere in this area where a low pressure system could develop. A tropical system could develop over the next 5 to 7 days. So it could develop in this area. It could develop in the middle area here or the eastern area. This is pretty important because if the low pressure system develops here and starts to move northward, then it's going to get closer to Cuba and then potentially impact the Florida Straits. But if it develops in the center or the eastern area, it could affect eastern Cuba and the Bahamas and then out into the Atlantic. And then over on the eastern side, it could impact Haiti and the Dominican Republic here if something does develop. So this is a broad area of potential development. We are going to watch it very closely. And I want to show you, too, the sea surface temperature anomalies. This is the area here. You can see Florida and Cuba. We have an area that comes up through just to the east of the Yucatan Strait here. And this is the loop current. You can see this warm water coming up from the Caribbean. It does a loop, and it creates this pool of warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. But also notice this. Notice this area, and let me put the legend on here so you can see what the temperatures are. Anything in blue, heading towards blue, is close to 2 to 3 degrees Celsius below average. And anything in the red is about 2 to 3 degrees above average. 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above average. So what the good news is here throughout the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of patches of cooler water. That is great news. If anything were to move into the Gulf of Mexico, it won't have as much energy as a system, let's say, like Milton had when temperatures were way above average here and anomalously warm. But down here in the southern part of the Caribbean, where we're watching for potential development, you can see here there's not really much in the way of cooler water. There's a little patch here off of Haiti, but it doesn't look like that would have much of an impact on a larger system if it were to develop. And then out here in the Atlantic Ocean, lots of warm water, anomalously warm water, but close to the coastline here. You know why this blue is here over Florida? That is because we had all those easterly winds. Remember when Hurricane Milton went across Florida? We started getting easterly winds from strong high pressure that was up to the north and just constantly barraging the eastern coast of Florida. Well, that's created a lot of upwelling. As the water hits the east coast, it upwells, and that's why we're getting this cold water along the coast here. Very cold. Doesn't feel probably that comfortable when you want to go into the beach at Daytona right now. But there are still rip current advisories here because of rough water. And so that has really upwelled this cool temperatures. And then you can see the Gulf Stream. This is the Gulf Stream that heads out off of North Carolina. And look at all this quite warm water here. And then it meets up with colder waters from the north. But what's changed over the last several days is, remember last week, let's see if you remember what we were talking about, this cold water coming down off New Jersey and Delaware and the Maryland coastline. Well, look at this now. It has warmed up. The temperature has warmed up, so maybe a little bit more comfortable. In the Chesapeake Bay, it's warm, 3 degrees warmer than average. Doesn't mean it's really hot water to go swimming in. But anyway, that's a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, and we can back out here and show you them across basically the entire Atlantic basin and what that looks like. So we still have a lot of warm water in the Atlantic, but we do have patches of cooler water going on there as well. So that's what's happening as far as the sea surface temperature anomalies go. I do want to go back to GeoCollaborate here and zoom out or zoom up into Florida because I want to turn on a couple of things here. I'm going to turn on the watches, warnings, and advisories from the National Weather Service because we do have still small craft advisories along the south part of Florida. That is kicking up water there. But we also have, as we get closer here in Florida, you see from the Space Coast and south, there's Melbourne in Florida, all the way down to the border of Martin County and also Palm Beach County, where we have rip current advisories. That heads even further south down to basically the entire east coast of Florida. I'll zoom out here just a little bit. This light blue here along the coast, it's all about rip currents. All about rip currents. So not only do we have rip current possibilities, but we have that cooler water that I just showed you with that high resolution data from those multiple satellites. The other thing I want to show you are these green strips. We still have flood warnings after Hurricane Milton. This is just incredible. So much rain fell from Milton, and Florida is so flat, it takes a very long time for waters to recede. So we're talking about the Withlacoochee River here. We're talking about Cypress Creek, the Peace River. We still have flood warnings going on there, and that's still going to take many days, probably through this week, for these floodwaters to recede. And it's impacting a lot of people who live along the river who have had to evacuate from their homes. We're talking weeks now after Hurricane Milton has gone through. So that's something that's happening there. And we do have some winter weather. We have some potential for the dry air still over eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, and southeastern New England. We still have a chance for wildfires, and it's very dry, and so you should really limit and stop. Don't have any outdoor fires, not even if you're camping. Very dangerous conditions here and very dry. The same exists in the Midwest here. This pink area is a wind advisory. It looks like winds are really going to pick up here in Kansas and Oklahoma, and even in northern Texas here. Red flag warnings exist. This is all a wildfire danger in case winds, they will pick up, no doubt. But if any fires start, they will spread very rapidly. And then over in the west, throughout Colorado and Wyoming and Utah, higher elevations, winter weather advisories. So the snow is falling, will be falling over the next couple of days as this trough of low pressure moves in. And also a couple little patches here in Wyoming of winter storm warnings, where snow totals could reach 6 to 12 inches. And then along the west coast, we have that atmospheric river that came ashore. We also have small craft advisories. We have gale warnings in effect for Southern California, and a lot of activity because of the strong winds that are coming ashore with that strong low pressure system. And so one thing I did want to mention too is that the fall foliage is really at peak, basically, throughout Virginia and West Virginia into the mountains of North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. And in Galax, Virginia here, this is really pretty cool. You can see the map on the left. Let me put my cursor down here. This is exactly where Galax, Virginia is in the southwestern corner. So they're in peak foliage. As you can see the camera moving around there, beautiful trees, and you can see it extending all the way down in North Carolina. Some of the areas hard hit are actually in peak foliage right now. But some areas they do not want you to go into. Really call ahead and make sure you can get into some of these towns. But this is the peak foliage. Anywhere here is past peak, and up towards New England as well is past peak. But look, all these areas heading towards the coastline, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, really just beautiful areas to move through, drive through as you're looking for the beautiful leaves and the fall foliage. This is peak foliage. It's really quite amazing. And this is Virginia in here, and North Carolina, eastern Tennessee right in here. Look at those leaves. They are changing. But look at the clouds here. This is 1 minute imagery, and you can see the low clouds in the valleys. There's been some spectacular pictures there in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, I'll show you one of these pictures. Look at this from western North Carolina, and you can see what the clouds look like when they have moisture in the valleys, how they just settle there, but the beautiful mountains are sticking out above where that low-level moisture is. So back to GeoCollaborate here and the satellite picture. These clouds are evaporating. It takes a while in the low valleys where the moisture hangs on, Well, one last thing I want to mention as far as the U.S. is concerned is this week we have a trough of low pressure coming in from the west, and that is going to create a ridge in the east. And I just want to use GeoCollaborate here and turn on the day 3 forecast map. So I'm going to turn on what's anticipated here over the next couple of days headed into Wednesday, because it looks like, and I'll turn off the current watches and warnings now to clear it up just a little bit more. But there's going to be a relatively strong low pressure system on Wednesday coming into the Oklahoma Panhandle, southern Kansas, with a cold front extending down. And that is going to kick off showers and thunderstorms. And this hatched area you see from the Weather Prediction Center in College Park, Maryland, is identifying northern Texas, Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, parts of Missouri, and western Arkansas for potential severe weather on Wednesday. Now, Halloween is Thursday, but on Wednesday, looks like we could have some severe weather. Also to the north, this is mixed precipitation. So rain and snow could happen in this area. And look at that. That extends down into Denver. So it looks like some snow possibly moving into the Denver area. And then in the mountains, it looks like we'll have some pretty significant snow, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, higher elevations 6 to 12 inches, where I showed you where that winter storm warnings are. And then also some mixed precipitation in the northwestern mountains, rain down at the lower elevations, and certainly some rain along the coastline. So this is the forecast for Wednesday coming up. And I'm going to turn this off because I want to show you just how warm it's going to be. And I'm going to go down here to the max temperatures. I'll turn those on for day 3. Look at this. I don't have specific numbers for highs and lows in here, but I just wanted to show you how warm it's going to be in the eastern part of the U.S., from Texas over to Florida, up to southern Vermont and New Hampshire. We're talking about potential record-breaking high temperatures in these areas. Washington, D.C. could be 80 degrees, close to 80 degrees on Wednesday, and the same for St. Louis and down into Arkansas and Tennessee. Patches of mid to high 70s and perhaps low 80s. 70s up here near Chicago. So we have some warm weather headed our way. The strong cold front on Wednesday coming through is going to kick off potential severe weather. We'll be watching that as well, and we'll definitely be watching this potential development area to the south in the Caribbean. So that's it for now. That's what it looks like over the next couple of days. We are watching that area right there in the Southwest Caribbean. All eyes are on it, as are multiple satellites as well. Right now, the one thing that I did want to show you that I hadn't showed you yet, that was the model, the GFS model. I showed you the temperatures there with GeoCollaborate, but I do want to show you the forecast model as well and what they're picking up on with this tropical system. So this is the initialization this morning at 12Z, and I'm just going to take this through fairly quickly because you can see that low pressure system developing right down here, down to the south in the Caribbean. This is the American model, the GFS model, and this is valid Saturday afternoon, November 2nd. Saturday. So we're at Monday, go through the whole week. Then we start to see some potential development here. And it may be 1 or 2 low pressure systems. That's what the GFS is looking at right now, which is going to be interesting. I don't think that that's going to happen. But then it takes this main low over eastern Cuba, which could be either a tropical depression, a tropical storm, maybe a hurricane. And then it takes it on up into the ocean, where high pressure system is stretching across the Atlantic, but there's a weakness that develops. The good thing is that there's a big trough of low pressure that's going to come through this. I'll change this over to show you where that trough of low pressure system is. And then it gets whisked out into the Atlantic Ocean. So currently, It does not look to me like the United States will be threatened at all by this developing system. We will be watching its potential impact for Puerto Rico, or maybe it'll move to the west of Puerto Rico if it does develop here. But I will take here and I'll turn on here 500 millibar heights and pressure anomaly here. So you'll be able to see here that all this is a ridge of high pressure here that looks like it's Tuesday. This is going to be creating a lot of the heat in the east, a ridge of high pressure. Meanwhile, a trough enters in to the west, and you'll see that as it comes through. And you'll see this is upper levels of the atmosphere, 500 millibars, about 20,000 feet or so. And you'll see this as I put it into motion. This is 12Z Friday. You start to see this low pressure developing in the Caribbean. And then we have high pressure here that's trying to block whatever comes in. But as that comes, develops and moves over Hispaniola, maybe to the west of the Puerto Rico there, look at this big trough. This is a big trough of low pressure here that acts like again, a football team defensive line that doesn't want anything to come into the United States, will have influence on the flow here. And then as the system moves into the Atlantic Ocean, kind of whisks it out into the ocean there. So we'll be monitoring it. Of course, this is way out. This is, what do I call it? Fantasy land. Look at that. That's 300 hours out in the future. We'll take it back here. And we'll watch this evolve. But that's it for this particular update. We do have that chance of tropical development, so I'll be doing updates each day this week as we watch the Caribbean. And for the rest of the day, it looks like it's just going to be pretty quiet weather on the East Coast and warming up for potential record high temperatures along the East Coast Tuesday into Wednesday. So that's it. I'm Dave Jones for Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with another update. And please take care of yourself and watch out for your neighbors. Have a good day.